Welcome to the way of theosis. In a world drowning in noise, but starving for the truth, there is a path that has been trodden for 2,000 years. Here, we do not merely read the Holy Scriptures, we breathe them through the eyes of the saints. We don't seek modern, we seek the ancient wisdom of the Holy Fathers. Genesis chapter 5, the lineage of hope amidst the reign of death. This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him, male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created. We open this 5th chapter by returning to the origin. St. John Chrysostom observes that the Scripture repeats the creation in God's likeness to remind us of our high dignity, even after the tragedy of the fall. He notes that God called them both Adam, signifying the profound unity and shared nature of the human race. On the path of theosis, we remember that our gender and our personhood are both held within the blessing of the Creator. And Adam lived 130 years, and begot a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth. And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters, and all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. The narrative now shifts. Saint Ephrem the Syrian points out a subtle but heavy change. Adam begot a son in his own likeness. While the image of God remains, it is now transmitted through a fallen nature. And then, we hear the refrain that will haunt this entire chapter, and he died. St. John Chrysostom teaches us that this repetition is a funeral dirge for humanity, a constant reminder that sin brought death into the world, turning the King of creation into a return to the dust. And Seth lived 105 years, and begot Enosh. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enosh lived 90 years, and begot Kenan. And all the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. As we move through the centuries of Seth, Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, and Jared, the Fathers invite us to look at the immense longevity of these patriarchs. St. Augustine and St. John Chrysostom explain that God granted these long lives to allow the human race to multiply and to preserve the primitive traditions of Eden before the written word existed. Yet, no matter how many centuries pass, the end is always the same: death. The lineage of Seth shows us a world where life is long, but the horizon is still dark. As we watch the centuries pass and the toll of death rise, we are reminded that our true life is not found in the number of our years, but in the quality of our union with God. If these patristic echoes are helping you find the eternal amidst the temporal, please like and share this video. Subscribe to the Way of Theosis and join our community in the comments. Your support allows us to keep the light of the Fathers burning in the digital void. Genesis chapter 5, the lineage of hope amidst the reign of death. And Jared lived 162 years, and he begot Enoch. And Enoch lived 65 years, and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begot Methuselah 300 years, and he was not, for God took him. Here, the funeral dirge is suddenly interrupted by a celestial melody. St. John Chrysostom exclaims that in a world increasingly filled with wickedness, Enoch stands as a living icon of virtue. He did not merely obey God, he walked with God, a phrase the Fathers describe as a state of constant prayer and unbroken communion. Saint Ephrem the Syrian and Saint Gregory the theologian teach that Enoch's translation to heaven without tasting death was a sign of hope. It was God's way of showing that the curse of the dust is not the final word. Enoch is the first fruit of a human nature that, through deification, can bypass the sting of the grave. And Methuselah lived 187 years, and begot Lamech. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. Methuselah stands as the man who lived longest upon the earth. St. John Chrysostom notes that even 969 years are but a drop in the ocean compared to eternity. His death marks the end of an era, and the world begins to tilt toward the coming flood. And Lamech lived 182 years, and begot a son, and he called his name Noah, saying, "This same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord has cursed." Lamech's naming of Noah is a prophetic cry. St. John Chrysostom explains that the name Noah means rest or comfort. Lamech sensed that the weight of the curse and the toil of the earth were becoming unbearable. He looked to his son as the one who would bring a Sabbath to the world's suffering. The Fathers see in Noah a type or a shadow of Christ, who is the true rest and the true comfort for all who labor and are heavy laden. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. We close this chapter of generations at the doorstep of the great flood. Saint Ambrose of Milan notes that Noah waited 500 years before begetting his sons, showing a profound level of self-control and holiness in a generation that was losing its way. The line of Seth has reached its climax. The stage is set for the ark. Thank you for walking through the Book of Generations with us on the way of theosis. We have seen the reign of death, but we have also seen the walk of Enoch and the promise of Noah's comfort. Remember, even in a world where all must die, those who walk with God are never truly lost. May the uncreated light of the Trinity guide your path.